Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So, we would like to present you a situation or cultural product which oppress women in our society. But before that, we would like to introduce ourselves first. Start from the right one.
Hello, my name is Asih Sunarsih.
Hello, my name is Shifatul Musarofah.
And then my name is Maulana Anwar Sidik.
Hello, my name is Artha, Audina, Aritonang.
Okay, let's get into our discussion. So, according to our group discussion, we have already decided to discuss about the situation where women are oppressed, discriminated, and violated by the conservative rules that women should wear the full covered clothes rather than the less covered ones. And then, in terms of binary opposition analysis, we have already made several points. The first point is conservative rules versus women. The conservative rules represent the established regulations, the norms within a particular culture, religious, or societal context. These rules are often set and enforced by authority figures such as religious leaders, community elders, or government bodies. They are rooted in traditional values and beliefs about modesty and morality. And then women symbolize the group subjected to the dress code regulations. Women in this context become the victims of these rules, facing constraints on their clothing choice and self-expression. And then the second discovery is about the full covered clothes versus the less covered clothes. So our group has already discussed that full covered clothes refer to the prescribed clothing that is considered acceptable and modest according to the conservative rules. These clothing options typically include long skirts, head coverings, and loose-fitting garments. And then the next one is the less covered clothes. Less covered clothes are the clothing choices that are perceived as immodest or provocative within this cultural context. They include clothing that expose more skin, and such as shorter skirts, sleeveless tops, or pants, and may not address to conservative modesty and standards. And then the next one is protection versus oppression. So, in this term, protection is the underlying intention behind the conservative dress code rules that we have already mentioned, which is to protect women from potential sexual harassment. But the purpose of these rules argues that by covering up the whole body of women, women are less likely to attract unwanted attention and remain safe. And then about the oppression itself, it represents the unintended consequences of enforcing such as dress codes. Women's autonomy, freedom of choices, and self-expressions are restricted. They may face discrimination and violation of their rights as their personal agency and decisions are limited by these rules. And then the last binary opposition analysis will be about the seducing maid and the sexual harassment itself. Well, we know that seducing men is the stereotype perpetuated by the conservative thinking. It associates women who wear less covered clothes with the intention of seducing or tempting the man. This stereotype is used to justify the need for conservative dress code rules. And then the next is the actual problem that the dress code is meant to solve is sexual harassment. Despite the fact that there is no statistical connection between the person's dress choices and their likelihood of experiencing harassment, it is mistakenly associated with women's clothing. So, the next discussion will be about how does the cultural or situation is maintained, enforced, produced, and reproduced through the binary strategy in this context. Okay, first I'm going to explain to you about the maintenance. The maintenance of these conservative dress codes is taken by those in positions of power and authority within our society. They uphold these rules as a means of preserving traditional belief about modesty and morality. For example, like religious leaders, community elders, or government bodies are key actors or main stakeholders in this maintenance process. These rules are kept in place through cultural, religious, or legal authorities. And then it's about the enforcement. The enforcement of this dress code is carried out through various institutions, religious bodies, community leaders, and legal authorities, as I mentioned previously, play a significant role in ensuring the fulfillment of these rules. When women who don't comply with dress code may face social stigmatization, punishment, or even legal consequences, making it difficult for them to deviate from these norms. And then next is the production. Well, this cultural product or the situation of women's oppression through conservative dress code is produced through the conservative rules, conservative values, and conservative norms. This production involves the portraying women as someone who are responsible for men's action and reinforcing the idea that their clothing is significantly linked to the sexual harassment. And then media, educational, and institutions, and also the religious establishment often play a role in producing and promoting this kind of beliefs and rules. And then next is about the reproduction. How the condition or the situation reproduced over and over again in our generation. Then the binary strategy is reproduced through a cycle of socialization and indoctrination. From a very young age, individuals are taught and socialized into these norms. It is promoting the beliefs that clothing choices are tied to moral virtues and safety of women. This cycle continues through generations over and over again, leading to the perpetuation of oppressive dress code rules for women. And then, in conclusion, given that the situation was aimed to protect women from any possible sexual harassment, it is full of irony, right, where the situation doesn't address the question of from whom women are protected by the situation. And also, we believe that assaults only happen because an assaulter commits the assault itself. Clothes aren't the consent of the victim's clothes choices, because everyone has the right to wear that they choose without fearing harassment or being assaulted. By saying that you shouldn't wear these clothes for not seducing men, it is unfair and disrespectful towards women, because reducing sexual harassment to clothing perpetuates the objectification of women itself. And this kind of blame that women should wear these or that are not seen seducing is one of the victim blaming. And because they are shifting the blame into the victim based on their clothing. And yeah, in the perspective of the conservative world, women who wear less covered clothes are frequently associated with the manner of seducing men or inappropriety. And then, in fact, sexual harassment has nothing to do with the clothes of the victim. So that's all from the results of our group discussion. I hope it will be useful for us, and thank you very much for watching this video.